what's up, guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 2006 Porsche Boxster S. Behind me is a 3.2-liter flat six, and down below is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Boxster S for two reasons. First of all, it's been a couple of years since I've driven a Boxster S. I loved it then, and, well, to spoil the video, I still love it here today. That's a big reason I wanted to drive it. The second reason is the fact that I think these are kind of a bargain, if you could say that with the association of the name Porsche. These can be had for a lot less than the Porsche 911. And so, is it as good? Is it as fun? We'll figure that out here today. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 3.2-liter flat six mounted just behind my hips. Well, that is what makes the Boxster special. Although it is smaller than the 911, it still gets a mid-engine design where the 911 actually gets a rear engine design. There's a couple of benefits to that. I've always enjoyed the handling of the Boxster, and this is the larger 3.2-liter flat six, where the standard Boxster of this generation got a 2.7-liter flat six. It makes about 276 horsepower, and it's just fun. It's not incredibly rev happy, but it is happy to rev. And it's very fun here on this twisty road. Now, this is our first snow of the winter here in 2024, so I'm not going to push this car too hard. However, I have pushed another Boxster S pretty hard on a back road in Texas, and so let me tell you from firsthand experience, it's glorious, it's wonderful, and it feels like you do get a premium experience over, say, a Miata or an S2000. That extra torque from the flat six is really, really a treat. And I am swimming in that treat here today. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, this is where the Miata or S2000 might be a little bit better. It has a little bit more friendly of a shifter and a little bit more friendly of a clutch. However, that's not to say that the Porsche's shifter and clutch isn't good. It's just a little stiff, a little stuck in its ways, which most German cars are, so par for the course on that. Last but not least, of course, the Boxster S is rear-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the Boxster S? Well, I kind of covered that already, but it feels good. Visibility isn't that bad, which normally isn't the case for convertibles. Convertibles are usually dreadful to drive with the top up, at least in terms of visibility, and the Boxster isn't that way. Steering is a little bit stiffer too. Again, it's not a Japanese car. It's going to have those German attributes in the drivetrain. However, it's par for the course with all of its siblings, so just kind of know that going into it. I come from a Miata background. I've owned Miatas and RX-7s and things like that, so to me it feels stiff. But if you're coming from a Camaro, this is going to feel like a feather. So it's all about perspective, and that's what life's about. You probably didn't hear much. There's a lot of wind, but it's just so solid up to that 7,000 RPM red line. It doesn't waver, it doesn't question itself, it just goes, and that is a nice feeling. And the other thing is that I'm not waiting for a turbo to spool up. I don't have a 4-cylinder that's trying to punch like a 6-cylinder. I have 6 full cylinders, 3.2 liters, helping me out here today, and that is definitely nice to feel. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 gauges. Off to the left is my speedometer. In the center is my tachometer. Love that Porsche does center-mounted tachs. I think this is so important and just wonderful. And off to the right, we do have our coolant temperature and fuel. The screen at the bottom of the fuel gauge is a little bit messed up. This is where Porsche was still trying to make their money back from all of the money they leaked out in the 90s. so there were some quality issues, and the screen is one of them. On the steering wheel, we actually don't have any forward-facing buttons. I really like that. Very, very driver-oriented with you in mind. It's not distracting you with anything. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, headlight switch, which we do have headlight washers as well. That was an option here on the Boxster S. But then we also have the ignition switch. So if you're unfamiliar, Porsche has always had their ignition switches off to the left. Even with the modern push to start cars, you still push to start on the left. There's a lot of heritage behind this, but very, very cool to see. On the door, we have power mirrors, power windows, and a Bose speaker, along with an airbag. Very nice for 06. Moving into the center, we get our clock. Absolutely love this. Porsche, again, always does a clock in their vehicles, and they match the gauges. So if this vehicle had black gauges with yellow needles, the clock would have a black face with a yellow needle. So I've always loved that attention to detail from the Porsche company. Down below that, we have 2 climate control vents and the hazard switch, central locking, as well as an aftermarket radio. Off to the right, we do have pop-out cup holders. So we'll do a big freaking bottle test and it fails, but kind of an ingenious way to make the cup holders, although they don't hold much of anything and they break quite a bit. It's just cool to see, but still a fail. And our climate controls. So, 2 really weird things here. First of all, the heated seats. Now, this car is equipped with heated seats, however, they don't work. The reason for that is that the battery went dead on this car. And so, if your battery goes dead, Porsches forget what they were optioned with. You have to retell them, hey, you have heated seats. And so you actually have to take it to the dealer and have the dealer flash the ECU and say, hey, ECU, you have heated seats, you have headlight washers. So, kind of a weird, annoying German thing. The other weird thing is the fan speed. There's a lot of them. So many, in fact, that I sat and counted them. And annoyingly, there are 19 fan speeds. 19 fan speeds. Why not 20? If you're gonna make that many, just give it 20. So weird. But then we do have buttons for the rear spoiler, suspension, and our sport button. And then, of course, we have the shifter itself. The shifter is lovely. It feels good in my hand, has a nice weight to it. And overall, I'm very, very happy with it. Then we do have an ashtray, cigarette lighter, and our top operation button. So it is a power top. Very, very nice to see that. And that's what made the Boxster special over the Cayman. The Cayman was the hard top Boxster. The Boxster was the soft top convertible Cayman. Pretty interchangeable. But then we do get a center console and the seats. Like I said, the seats would be heated, although these particularly aren't working today because it forgot. But they're comfortable. I'm 5'11", I'm not a small guy, and I fit in here pretty happily. The biggest issue height-wise is going to be your legs. Same thing with the Miata, but getting your legs around the steering wheel is going to be the biggest issue, not necessarily height. So if you're all torso, you should be good to go. Now, we don't have any back seats, but we can talk about the frunk and trunk, so let's do it. I hope wherever you're watching this video from is exceedingly warm, because today it is not, but we do have a frunk operation here on the key fob. Pull that up like that, and we do get a little frunk. Now, it is pretty deep. It's just not very, I guess, deep into the car, but we do have our CD and DVD player up here. That was for the original infotainment. We have some Porsche badges and, of course, some fluids to top off, but nothing really too crazy beyond that. That is the frunk. Now, we do have a trunk as well. Pop it up like that, and you do get some pretty good trunk space as well. The engine is jammed somewhere in there, and that's why you didn't see any engine shots in the start of the video, because you can't actually access it. You would have to pull these bolts down, kind of pull that down, and then you could start to see it. But engine oil and all of that is found over here. You don't really get to see it. It's one of the few cars under $1 million that you really can't access the engine. Even the 911s, you can at least see the top of it, but the Boxster, you cannot. Pop this back down, and we'll pop this down. However, there's still one more thing I want to talk about before we talk about the looks, and that would be the inside of the door. Right here, there are all of these marks. Now, apparently this is a decently common issue that these don't retract super well, and people will close the door with the seatbelt in it. So if you see that, if you're looking for your Boxster and you see that, that is a pretty common issue to be found on these cars, something the owner noted. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I love the look of the Boxster S. I've always loved this generation. I just think all Porsches look good, even the 996 cracked egg yolk headlight 911. I like them all. They've just always held such a special place in my heart. And so anytime I see one, I know that it's a happy, happy, good day. Quick pause before we get on to my final thoughts. That's a really, really cool first-gen Taurus SHO. That's pretty neat. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the 2006 Porsche Boxster S? Well, of course I love it. I mean, there was just no denying it or no avoiding it, and there was no chance that I wasn't going to love this car. It's fantastic. Not to mention, I forgot to mention it with the engine portion, that this is past the IMS bearing issues phase. The first-gen Boxsters had a really, really catastrophic bearing issue. And so when you're buying one, you have to always ask, hey, does this have the service done? Does this have the IMS bearing service done? You don't have to ask that question here in the Boxster S from 06. This was the next generation. They're more reliable. And as I mentioned, you can buy these for a fraction of the price that you would buy a Porsche 911, and you still get all of the fun. In my honest opinion, I am very, very fortunate to have driven most generations of the recent 911. Very fortunate to have driven a lot of Boxsters here on the channel. This isn't my first, and I pray to God it's not my last. My point being, this is just as fun. Unless I drove them back to back on a track on a sunny day with slick tires, I would probably go, yeah, the 911 is faster, it's quicker, it's nicer. But it's really splitting hairs. And the price, well, the price doesn't split hairs. The price is on two separate heads of hair. And so if you really want that Porsche experience, if you really want a drop-top, flat-six, mid-engine vehicle, this is the one for you. You're not gonna absolutely break the bank. You don't have to take out a second mortgage to own one. And you get all of the smiles you would from the big boy. Let's see that smile again. Struggling for traction. There's that smile. It's so good. And you know what? I'm not really doing anything wrong. I'm not setting down a Nürburgring record. I'm just having fun in light snow here in December. I love these. I love these cars so much. So much. There's just no denying that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Mitchell for letting me borrow his Boxster. Also, thank you to John for setting up this review. What a fantastic automobile. John and Mitchell have been absolutely wonderful to work with. I'm reviewing a couple of their vehicles here today, and I appreciate them very, very much. But I have one more thank you, and that's to you. This is my final review of 2024. Don't worry, I'll be back in 2025, but it's been a wonderful year of reviews. And so thank you for watching, thank you for commenting, thank you for liking and sharing the video. I get to do my favorite thing in the whole wide world every single day, and that is all thanks to you guys and people like John and Mitchell. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.